Hey, Juventini, and welcome to episode one of What's Up With You, formerly known as the Juve Roundup or the Rumor Roundup, but I needed to come up with a better name, so there it is. Now, we've got a lot to talk about this past week in recap. And Juve's never a dull moment, everybody knows that. But real quick, get a piece of business out of the way. Shirt I'm wearing is Il Fenomeno Vero, Del Piero from Striped Hearts Apparel. Please check it out. Be part of the first drop if you haven't. Supplies are limited and we're starting to run low in certain sizes, but there's 3 designs total and proceeds are going to charities. And for everyone that takes part in the first drop and with every purchase, you're entered to win this bad boy right here. That's right, the Juve Palace kit with Paulo Dybala 10 on the back. So make sure you join in. You get some cool swag, you get entered to win a Palace jersey, and proceeds are going to charity. It's winning all around. Now, let's get to the topics. Right off the hop, Serie A has named May 18th, May 18th as the day where full training can resume. All right, now it's been a lot of speculation, and some fans are very, very uneasy as there are positive COVID-19 tests popping up with clubs involving players and some staff. Now, I'm not incredibly surprised by that at all. These people have all been at home. Nobody's been getting tested, and we know that you could be not showing any symptoms and have it. So I fully expected this. Let's see how they handle it. Let's see what happens before we, jump to any conclusions or see what's going to happen. But May 18th is tentatively the date for the return of full training. UEFA has come out with a schedule to complete the Champions League. Now, Lyon and Juve, the return leg, set to be played in Turin to an empty stadium, is set for August 7th. Now, Lyon is denying that, saying that it will not take place. Obviously, we know that Lyon has canceled. They named their champion. They shut down the league. They said that's it. Now they're denying that that game will take place. Again, we just have to see what happens before we jump to any kind of speculations or anything like that. But it'll be an interesting story to follow because UEFA has also completed the rest of the tournament, and it would literally be set to finish in the following 3 weeks. That is just crazy to me. Completely crammed into the month of August. That would be an absolute gong show. And if Juve thought Alexandro was tired during the regular season, let's see him after August when he's got no backup. Unreal. Now, let's get to some talks have come up. Now, all of a sudden, Kevin De Bruyne, after some comments he made about wanting to potentially play with Ronaldo, or he would love to play with Ronaldo. And we know the Champions League is a bit in question with Man City and the issues they might find themselves in with fair play. But honestly, the amount that Man City would want is crazy. He's going to have high wages too. It's funny, everybody that was worried about Pogba's wages. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne's are not going to be any better. Kevin De Bruyne is also, I believe, turning 29, possibly 30 on June 28th. And I know that day because it's my birthday as well. But so I mean, there's some pros and cons there. Overall, I would take De Bruyne over Pogba. But De Bruyne's going to cost a hell of a lot. We're already working this hard on a potential deal for Pogba. I don't see De Bruyne being a deal that Juve could pull off. Now, let's get to Dybala. Paulo Dybala set to wrap up an extension pretty soon. We know he's returned to the facilities, and obviously he's going to have to go some isolation. They are going to get more testing done, but he has made it back. And they're talking about locking it. This is about damn time, okay? Dybala needs to get locked in. What happened last summer was absolutely incredible, especially for a player of his caliber and our club essentially trying to push him away. No, we need to lock him in. But the biggest thing that we need to do is we need to stop trying to fit Paulo Dybala into Juve and start realizing Paulo Dybala is Juve, and we need to build around this kid, or we are going to waste that talent and essentially that potential, because I still believe he can hit heights even further than what we've seen. We just need to really show that faith and support in him. And we can never do something like what we did last summer. So let's get that deal done and let's start building around him and stop trying to just fit him in. Okay. He is Juve. Um, Stories coming out about Emerson Palmieri, and I think Sarri is hot on him. Chelsea apparently won't budge for the price of 40 million euros. For me, you can get Tellus for less. So sorry, Emerson. See you later. I would go with Tellus. It's less. Sandro, we should be making a move for Sandro, in my personal opinion, but look for Luca Pellegrini to come back. And I think if it was Sandro and Pellegrini, I'd still be fine with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Luca Pellegrini takes the starting job. Okay, let's get to a really hot topic surrounding our Capitano, Giorgio Chiellini, coming out. Obviously, he's got a biography that will be coming out soon, and a bit of it come out recently, and he had some choice words in regards to Mario Balotelli and Felipe Melo. And this has just, been a battle back and forth. I've even seen some Juventini saying that what Giorgio Chiellini did was wrong. He didn't need to do that, and he needs to be a leader. And Balotelli firing back saying, oh, you had chances to say that to his face. Look, the bottom line, what Giorgio Chiellini said about Felipe Melo and Mario Balotelli should come to no surprise to anybody. He talked about the lack of respect, especially for the Azzurri when it came to Balotelli. He talked about Melo just causing problems, always wanting to fight. Look, it's an autobiography. He was asked, and if he felt like answering that way, he has every right to. Is it right or is it wrong? In my opinion, what he said wasn't a surprise. Is it wrong? I don't think so. If those guys are upset that Chiellini's saying about this, they should have thought about that when they were acting in that manner. If they were worried about what people thought of them or what people would say about them, then don't act like that in the first place, in my opinion. As far as this affecting Giorgio Chiellini as a leader, I don't think it affects him as a leader. He talked about it, a lack of respect. With him, it's clear. He could name probably a ton of people, but he didn't, because if respect was reciprocated, I don't think even their names would have come up. But he's one of the old guards. He's an old school guy, talks about respect. The comments about saying it to Balotelli's face, well, there's been many people coming out now saying that, hey, you know what, Giorgio Chiellini, he did say it to his face, but it falls on deaf ears with Balotelli. Does that surprise anybody? No. Mario Balotelli, highlight of his career, being mentioned in this biography and getting kicked by Francesco Totti. There you go. There's his career highlights. Honestly, let's stop pretending that Felipe Melo and Mario Balotelli are something that they're not. Okay, Mario Balotelli talking about morals, that's hilarious. Okay, don't get me going on that. Now, as far as a leader goes, in Chiellini, everybody knows in a club that the management leans on several key guys of that core, of that leadership group, and they will find out. This is not just a sports thing. This is a model used in modern day business as well. The higher ups, they will lean on people, not to use them as rats, but to figure out if there are issues and there are members that aren't helping the team as they should. This is no surprise. This has been happening through sports historically as well. You'll have your key guys in management will lean to and say, hey, you know what? This guy is just a locker room cancer or whatnot. If you don't think that's part of leadership, or you see Chiellini as a rat, you need to realize that is a part of sports, that is a part of business. That is what happens. Management will lean on these guys. I personally have zero issues with what Giorgio Chiellini did. Now, this has been a hot one, and I know that there's going to be people that feel strongly against everything I just said, but that's okay. That's your opinion. I'd still love to hear it. Drop me some lines in the comments here. Let's discuss it, or reach out to me on Twitter. Let's talk about it, because that one was a hot topic this week. Now, let's get to the kits that were leaked. So, La Maglia Bianconeri, who's very reputable, has come out with the photos of next year's kit. Now, the home one, it's got the funky stripes that don't appear to be paintbrush stripes. They do go the full length of the kit. They're kind of funny. Some people say they look like asphalt. Some people say it looks kind of like the pattern on ponchos. I don't know. Personally, I'm happy there's stripes back. It's a good kit. Is it the best kit? No. Is any kit really ever going to be 100% perfect? I don't think so. Even the ones we look back at from historic Juve times, we see them as perfect now, but back in the day, we probably would have picked out some flaws. I don't think there is a such thing as the perfect kit. Okay, you can come very close, but it's very hard. This kit, this home kit, I rated a 7 to a 7.5 out of 10. I'm happy with it. Gold highlights, it's fine, no issues. The away one, the blue seems a little bit dull to me. I give it about a 6.5. Looks kind of bland. I mean, I would have liked the electric blue, much like the 1996 Champions League kit. It just stands out a lot more. Looks very sharp. Someone on my Twitter actually did a mock-up using that electric blue. Looked fantastic. Changed the whole outlook of that kit. And then the orange one, the third kit, still wild in my opinion. I'm not a fan. The font on it, it gets lost in it because you have black and orange in this. As my friend Graham liked to say, this Metallica Load album cover look. And you can barely see the gray on the emblems and the font. I don't like that one whatsoever. But to each their own. Check them out. They're leaked everywhere now. I'm sure you already have, but curious to see how you rank them. And just let me know in the comments if you're going to be buying all three. Are you going to buy one of them? Do you like any of them? Do you not like them? Or even what you would change with the kits. Now, let's get to some transfer news. Never dull moment when it comes to transfers, especially coming out of this pandemic and what Juve is going to do, as there's a lot of news about changes and possibilities that they have available to them. Now, Aouar from Lyon has been set with a price tag of 50 million euros. There were some reports saying that Lyon is going for Merih Demiral. Now, for me personally, and I got into this discussion on Twitter, I'd love to hear everyone's comments here. I said there's no way we move Merih Demiral. No way at all. Now, there was some debate about it due to the fact that he's coming off a very serious injury. Now, for me, him coming off this injury, yeah, it's a serious injury. However, sports science has come such a long way that I have faith that we should put that trust in our medical team. That's essentially what they're for. Let's at least get him back. And the reason I say that is because I will always rate these guys or rank these guys or make these decisions ultimately based on what I see on the pitch. And with Merih Demiral, I see so much positive stuff. This kid is a beast. We at least owe it to ourselves as a club to see him through the rehab and see how he comes through it. If it doesn't work, then maybe we could pull a deal. The nice thing was we got him at a smoking deal. But let's see it through. We have to. I think it would be an absolute shame to just make a call, pull some type of swap, and get him out just because of this injury. Let's see him through his rehab and see what we got there and what we're dealing with. When it comes to Aouar there, 50 million euros. That is the same price that's been put on Sandro Tonali from Brescia. Now, I put the post out, I put a Twitter poll out to see if you had the choice between the two, seeing as how they're in the exact same price range, both midfielders, who do you go for? It was a landslide, which I expected for Sandro Tonali. However, I was interested because I asked why. Who do you pick and why? And specifically, I wanted to know what it was about Aouar that would have people picking him. And it was what I expected. He's a little more tested when it comes to experience. And he can play multiple spots in the midfield, more attack minded. Tonali, no issues with Tonali. Great player. I lean to Tonali. There were some comments made about Tonali being Italian. We all seem to tend to naturally want to get the young Italians. I don't necessarily disagree. Is that wrong? Is it right? I don't know. It's going to depend on how many guys we have leaving the club and how many Italians we have moving, because we have to keep that number, right? Now, when it comes to the two, another reason I want to ask, I want to see how much this comes up, and I'm surprised at how much it comes up, but they say Sandro Tonali knows Serie A. He knows the league. You hear this a lot from fans when we talk about transfers. And personally, I can't buy into that. I cannot buy into that. And the reason is just these guys are professionals. I mean, knowing the league, what is that really going to do? For me, it's more the chemistry, the spot he's going to fill on the club, how he's going to fit in with that team. I think that's more important than a player knowing the league. It's how does his playing style accent the team? How does it support our team? Is it what we need? Can he help us? I don't believe in this. He knows Serie A, he knows the league type thing. I don't put a whole lot of weight on that, but I know that a lot of fans do, and I want to hear your comments and why, if you are one of the fans that weighs that decision on the fact of the player knowing Serie A, I want to know why. Why do you think that should be weighed upon in making these decisions? Because to me, I just don't look at it. I look at the player, his qualities, his characteristics, how it's going to help Juve as a whole. Now, moving on again with this Tonali thing. Tonali reported today, it was reported that Tonali has given the okay to join Merda. Now, a lot of Juventini disappointed to hear this. However, if this is true, I'm not terribly concerned. I did have Tonali as someone I thought Juve should make a must-have. If it doesn't work out, though, the rumors have intensified with Miralem Pjanic joining Barca. Now, if Artur comes back the other way, great deal. Great deal in my opinion. I don't think we're that far off. I think this whole time, with all these decisions that we're talking about with Juve, I think this whole time, Juve is going to bring in two midfielders. They're going to do two midfielders, okay? And here's how I think it's going to shape up. If Tonali does end up going to Merda, okay, Pjanic probably going to go to Barca. If we can work Artur back in the deal, fantastic. But there is a little bit of a concern with Artur. He was coming out making comments saying how much he wanted to stay at Barcelona. Okay, now this is interesting because if he's against the move, I don't like that. I don't want to pull a player who's against the move because I have a fear of that lack of commitment to Juve. And if there is a lack of commitment there, and then we end up having to get rid of him after, that could hurt. That could potentially hurt because teams will know the situation. You kind of get into the same Pogba thing where everyone knows he wants to leave Man U. It takes away that team's leverage. I don't want to get us into that scenario. So that makes me a little nervous about that. But if he does agree to it and he's okay with coming, that's a great swap. Okay, so you've made a Pjanic Artur swap. All right, then I think they are going to go all in on Paul Pogba. I think that's been the plan the whole time. I think they'll put everything into it. Rabiot, it's been reported, is not returning back to Turin. Probably going to be mandated by Juve that he comes back. And it sounds like they're upset, naturally. This made it really easy to pick who you would get rid of between Ramsey and Rabiot. Rabiot, you're gone. Ramsey's been a concert professional. Okay, he's been fantastic. His commitment to learning the language, being comfortable with life in Turin, it's been fantastic. Very, very nice to see. Like the commitment, love the way he finished off before this whole pandemic as a Mezzala there, box-to-box guy. I like it. Rabiot can be used as part of the deal to bring Pogba in. So all of a sudden now, if we got Bentancur in that holding role, you bring in Arthur and you get Pogba. Pogba, Bentancur, and Arthur, that's a solid midfield if it happens. But there's other possibilities. We still have players we can use to bring in some more deals. Bernardeschi can still be used to bring in a deal. What if we made these moves and you could still pull off a Bernardeschi for Zaniolo move, which has been rumored too, which to me is a no-brainer. Again, going back to the Demiral injury thing, Zaniolo got injured in the same match, same injury. And again, you hear that. Why do we want to go after this kid? He's going to be Bernardeschi 2.0, and he's coming off this injury. Sports science has come a long way. I would take that shot. What are we losing? What has Bernardeschi given us other than his first season with Juve? He's given us a couple flashes in the pan here and there. I would take that opportunity. Or move it around somewhere else. We still need a forward. And there's still other guys to move. Higuain, Douglas Costa. We can still pull off a striker. We are very, very close. I don't think we need to do anything terribly drastic. A right back, two mids, and a forward. Okay, and we can do this. All right. But the move, Pogba, Bentancur, Arthur would be fantastic. If it doesn't work out with Arthur, then it gets tricky if Pjanic is set on Barcelona. There are a couple other teams interested. PSG was one of them. And then I think you got to start looking at some alternatives. I personally, if we don't get Tonali, would love for Juve to bring in Jorginho. Here's why. Jorginho is a true deep line playmaker, okay, to play that role. Now, all of a sudden, you have two options there, not just one with Bentancur. So the depth is great, and Bentancur, we know, can play Mezzala. Now, all of a sudden, you have a midfield, Jorginho, Pogba, Bentancur, and or Ramsey. Matuidi coming off the bench, I keep him because he can be your closer. It's good. We have options. There's a lot of options to work out there. Obviously, Partey has come into the mix here. Juve will have a lot of options. People say they don't want to go big on Pogba and they want to spread it out and use it amongst several players. I don't know. I think Pogba is that impact guy. On his day, he is elite. He knows what it's like to be at Juve. I think he knows how big a mistake he made leaving. I would do that. I would go all in on Pogba. It's not gonna take a lot, as we just went over these other options, to get one more midfielder that could really complete this and make it good. And then we could still get the forward. We could still get a right back. Got Luca Pellegrini coming back. We'd be sitting pretty. We have other guys we can move to balance things out. Going to be very, very interesting to see, but I want to hear all your comments on it, guys. A lot of options, but that midfield, here are some possibilities. I want to know, would you be happy with a midfield of Bentancur, Ramsey, Jorginho, and Pogba? Would you be better? Would you be better suited? Pogba, Bentancur, Ramsey, Arthur. Who do you want to see? What do you think is realistic? I'd love to hear the options out there. Now that Partey is in the mix, I hear a lot of people giving him shouts. I don't know. I personally, if Arthur is happy with that move, that's a fantastic midfield. I'd love to see it. But do we need a little bit depth behind Bentancur? Who would provide it out of those guys if it did become Arthur, Bentancur, and Pogba? Interesting. So much to talk about. Never a dull moment. But thank you for checking out the first episode of What's Up With You. Look forward to doing this every week, recapping all the news and hearing all of your comments, Juventini. Thank you so much for listening. And please don't forget to check out Striped Arts Apparel. Every purchase gets you in to try and win this Palace kit. Until next time, everybody, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.